cash versus credit in your early 20s. The student credit card that Standard Bank did. Speak to your bank, call your bank, speak to your bank. The opportunity cost. Yes, save a lot, but so that's where you sort of have to look at the trade-off. A clothing credit card. Gadgets, cash or credit. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Anga. Thank you for checking this video out. So if you are new here, thank you. Please also consider down below giving this video a thumbs up and commenting down below. And if you are a subscriber, thank you guys. If you are returning, thank you. And if you watch my videos without subscribing, please make sure you subscribe. Thank you so much. So in the last week of August, I will be doing a giveaway. You do not want to miss that. Make sure you stay tuned. Thank you. So let's get started. So today I actually was going through my bank statements and all that, trying to figure out how I could improve my spending and where I could kind of cut off and all that. Then I realized that, okay, I actually am trying to grow my credit score or increase my credit score over the next year and two, so that by the end of next year I could qualify for some sort of a mortgage. But in actual sense, I have not checked out my credit score. Legally, I can be able to check my credit score according to the Credit Act once a year for free using either, I think, 4 different credit score, I don't know, call them companies. So what I'm going to do is I'm going online to try and get my credit, and I will talk about how I am trying to increase my credit score as a student, cash versus credit in your early 20s. My opinions, they may not be the opinions of financial advisors, but it's how I feel I am trying to balance things out. I will talk a little bit about how I'm raising my credit score. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you give it a thumbs up and comment down below what you're doing to increase your credit score. So at this point, guys, I went on the website TransUnion and I did my application, filled in, created a new account, and this allowed me to get my report for free and pay for this credit that you see. I really should link this account to my bank account, because I didn't do that when I was opening the card. I didn't link it to my bank account because I was like, I'm just gonna pay because I always go to Rosebank anyway. But the Rosebank Edgar's then was gone, and then they opened the Edgar's home, which somehow I always forget about until I think about it and I'm in my room. So I really need to call them and link the payment to create a debit order. I owe them 68 rands, and that's on charges. So that's the other part about credit, is that you literally are paying to open this account. Like, I paid 20-something rand to have the Edgar's account, and that sucks. I'm not gonna lie, that sucks, the fact that every month you're donating 23 rands whatsoever. But at the same time, I would rather have that and create the credit that I want. Obviously, you can see my credit is like very entry level. I'm still a student. Obviously, this is like the information that I know. So I actually want the credit score. That's what I want. And for credit score, you actually pay. I want to know. So I'm just gonna, oh my gosh. 8 rands. That's an Uber Eats order. But it's fine, I wanna know. Dang it, I just realized when I read the entire article on Old Moshwa that you could just use ClearScore to get a credit score for free just by filling in their survey. So you guys can read this information or go to the website that I left. I will leave it on my description below, and go get your credit score for free by filling in this survey. I'm actually happy with the 22 years old. I'll be turning 23 this December. My goal is to latest by, obviously, next year, hopefully I'll be able to build my own house. That's kind of like what I'm saving towards. Obviously not in Joburg. Joburg is super expensive, but in South Coast. I am a student, I'm young. Typically with mortgages, some banks will ask you to pay a certain deposit, which is usually 10 to 15%, if you are a new person, new credit person, I guess. So I'm also planning for that. So that's one of the ways I am hoping to increase my credit score in the next 3 years, is to get land and get that on a mortgage with a very high deposit. So guys, when you are getting a mortgage, obviously you are decreasing your credit score because you're increasing your borrowings. But this may not be a problem that is that big of a deal if you are building a house on your own, because your debt won't be that high. Building a house off the city, because obviously Joburg is expensive. Durban is relatively more expensive, but cheaper than Joburg. I don't plan, for example, to live in a city forever. I love where I grew up. I definitely at some point want to always have a home there, because I'll always go there. But then the negative side of it is that I also live there. Obviously it's along the beach, and I've seen how the housing market is so high, the prices are so high, because of people who are living in the cities who can afford to come buy these holiday houses, but unaffordable to the people who are there. And I personally don't want to contribute to that problem. But when I was actually thinking about it, I'm like, my house, if I finish building the house, it will be occupied by someone. Period. It's a student credit card that State Bank did a couple of, I think first time I heard of it was last year when they called to offer it. I think it's 1,000 rand a month credit card. If you are a student who can't afford or cannot get the gold credit card or whatsoever, I really recommend getting that 1,000 rand. Speak to your bank, call your bank, speak to your bank, make sure that you are aware of any available methods to try and build your credit score. Obviously, and I think the second thing that I want to talk about is this huge debate over cash or credit. And I know it sounds ridiculous, and I have to make a disclaimer at this point. I'm not a financial advisor. I just like maths. And to me, sometimes certain things don't make mathematical sense, and I have to think about what it means. The opportunity cost. And I think it's something that as a young person who's interested in building a credit, to make sure that you're able to get your, not just a car, a house, or get into other forms of investments. And I've been so far somebody who believed in buying things cash, because you're told there's no better way to buy than buy cash. So for last year, everything I bought obviously was cash. This year, most of the things I bought were cash. Just before the lockdown was before I got paid, and obviously it was that week, so I knew I needed a new PC so that I can work at home. So I decided to take it on credit. I decided to take it for installment of 36 months. Now, as a mathematician, that bothered me for a full month, because I was calculating, oh my gosh, I'm going to be paying this much extra than the actual market price. And that was like, dang it. But yes, save a lot, but obviously it's a lockdown, things are completely changed. But this is a time more than anything to save more, because you don't really know what's going to happen. And obviously we saw that with our student life, literally just being like, now having a PC is not an option. You must have it. Having data, you can't. Even then we realized that we're spending much more on data than actually getting contracts. So obviously those things contribute to your credit that you're making. And that's where I think, for me, that's where the misinformation is over credit or cash. For example, in the case of the data, getting that contract for 900 rand a month actually contributes to your credit score. Where else I ended up buying data for cash, because I'm pro cash. I'm spending more. Nobody is keeping account of what I'm spending. So there isn't any contribution to my credit score. There isn't any contribution to what I do financially or my financial responsibility that people are seeing. So that's where you sort of have to look at the trade-off. Is it worth that at the end of, I don't have to think about paying that 900 rand? Or is it worth that I just pay that 900 rand and save, whilst at the same time this is contributing to my credit score? And then another thing that I did to try and up my credit score was a clothing credit card, whether it's Woolworths, whether it's Edgar's, whether it's Truworths. But I will say this: when I wanted to get one, I literally was looking online, because I remember when I was buying groceries. I know when you buy grocery on the online website for Woolworths, you can kind of get the thing of W hours and whatsoever, and then the credit card. And I was like, yeah, and I was like, I like Woolworths. No. You don't want to get a credit card from a shop that you really, really love. I love Edgar's. They don't have most of my size. Unless like the section of Edgar's that is not Edgar's brand, like Forever New, all those things, which obviously are relatively more pricey, which is why I made sure that my credit was only 1.5. So if I was like really liking a Forever New dress that was at Edgar's, I could be like, okay, this dress is 1.3, this is all I can buy. Where else I could be liking 4 dresses and be like, So if it's an irresponsible month, my irresponsible month will still fall under 1.5, and I could pay it off over whatever period of time. But at the same time, I am not losing as much. At the same time, my spending is attached to my credit score. So that, I think, is a good start up. Go to a shop. And I know a lot of people have negative connotation opening a shopping credit card because of mismanagement. You really have to dig within yourself and understand what is it that you're trying to achieve. If you're just trying to get a shopping credit card, a shopping store credit card so that you can buy clothes, you're most likely going to end up buying more clothes than you need, or than you would have with cash. So probably you shouldn't get that. But if your goal is, because I also buy clothes and I want this to be in records, because at the end of the day, we buy clothes. So why not buy clothes I need, attach it to my credit score, and then perfect. So I think that's where you should probably start. Getting gadgets, cash or credits, especially as a student, because we need a lot of gadgets. I made a mistake of buying my gadgets cash, and the pain is still within me. I feel like crying. I got my laptop on credit, but every other gadget that I needed for my school, for my meetings, for my research and all that, I got it on using cash. Now I want to take one gadget and make an example of what I mean. Say take this, which is what I'm using. This is the budget iPad, right? So this was about, I think, 9 point something from Incredible Connection, right? In my savings account, I buy this. What does this need? A pencil, a staple pencil. I couldn't get an alternative on Amazon because of obviously the lockdown and all of that time. So I literally had to get one from Takealot. So I get one from Takealot, and it's literally the Apple one. And you guys know the Apple Pencil is 2,000. So literally I spent more than 11,000 on this. Now, go to MTN, try to get the same effing iPad. You're paying 600 Rand a month, right? Get a pencil for 2,000 Rand. So I would have saved, say I use 11.5, I would have saved myself 9.5. And then in that 9.5 that I would have saved myself, this 9.5 would have remained in my savings account earning interest. Whilst every month, all I do is to move it from my savings account into my check card for it to be debited to MTN. The next month I do the same thing. But meanwhile that is happening, this is actually growing me interest. But what did I take? No, take the entire 9.5, flush it in the toilet, get this, which is great use. Obviously, it's relatively more, but most of the interest will be covered by your actual savings account interest anyway. You are also increasing your credit score. So as much as people want to say buy cash, I'm saying buy smart. Remember what your personal motives are. There's nothing wrong with having debts. if they are contributing to your future the way they should, the way that elevates you or puts you in a better position. Because at the end of the day, most of us would not be able to buy a house for cash. So early 20s, what I've noticed with a lot of people that are working, a lot of my friends that are in the industry already, in the corporate industry, in academia, it doesn't matter. Mostly in your early 20s, you are going to be getting the bare minimum salary. Renting in Joburg is super expensive. Now, if your credit score is not something that you're working on or trying to increase or trying to improve, you're going to have to rent longer. I'd actually, in researching the property market, mostly in Joburg, the amount of money that you're paying for an apartment is more than the amount of money that you will be paying for an actual mortgage on that apartment. And rent to buy options are way fewer in the market than just overrent, because people know that's where they want to generate income. So you have to think about what is it that you're trying to get into, what's your motive, and should you do it cash or should you do it credit card or go get a contract, whatever the case is. And another benefit of actually not getting things cash is this: if that 9.5, for an example, that I would have not gotten the gadget for cash, literally have access to in 6 months, you have access to the rest of your money. You could use it to actually develop something else, and you can teach online, you can teach English online. You have an opportunity to invest in more things that generate more income for you. I think it's the same thing. It's the same concept of, do I buy a car cash? Do I buy a car for a credit? My opinion, buying a car cash is the worst. It's probably like buying a brand new car. I mean, I'm not insulting your preference, but economically it doesn't make sense. Like, if you can get in the market a car that was like 4 months, 6 months, and sometimes you can even get a car that's like 8 months old with such a high depreciation rate to the brand new car. It's like, why would you go for the brand new car? But again, sometimes people are sentimental to those things. But I feel like in our early 20s, we're trying to grow more than anything. So you get to a point where you get a brand new car for now. Auction, baby. Auction must be your bae. Second-hand companies must be your bae. Because that economically makes more sense. Understand it. You want to feel like you don't have an obligation, so that if you choose to leave your job, you leave your job anyway, anytime. But at the same time, I feel like the most important things are a house. I mean, how do you decide to leave your job when you have no place to stay? No emergency health fund, nor emergency food fund, no, because these things happen for most young people. In their late 20s, that's when they have access to mortgage. That's when they have access. Then they have to spend the rest of their income is not only just trying to acquire assets, but you're also trying to get, make sure your kids are going to school, make sure all of that is happening. Yeah. So thank you guys. I hope you enjoyed this rather very long video. Last week of August, I'll be doing a giveaway, so make sure you stay tuned for that. Meanwhile, please subscribe down below, give this video a big thumbs up, and comment down below what are your biggest insecurities about your early 20s financially. I hope this video does not put pressure in trying to achieve anything, but rather be informative about what you can actually do, what you think about, and everything. Thank you guys.